For the last 100 years, there have been three questions that every factory in the world has struggled to answer. Today, for the first time in public, I will show you how these questions are now finally being answered. Thanks, of course, to AI. Right now, we're a decade into the so-called fourth industrial revolution. The factory floor has seen an influx of AR, VR, robotics, industrial IoT, AI, and cobots. But despite the innovation, inside every factory, there are three questions that nevertheless remain unanswered. What just happened? What's happening now? And how do we improve what happens next? These three questions are so hard to answer because, despite the headlines, manufacturing is still surprisingly manual. 72% of activities are still performed by people. The most common technique to measure activities in the floor was developed 100 years ago. Time and motion studies is what they call it. They're prohibitively labor intensive, and there's a massive observation bias because operators know that they're being observed and act differently. But in every factory I've ever set foot in, there's never been another option until now. Drishti is a video analytics and video traceability company. We use video from assembly line stations across the plant to create value for both the business and, just as importantly, the operators on the line. For the first time in any public forum, you're about to see our AI in action on the factory floor. For the last 4 years, we've been quietly advancing the state-of-the-art in AI video analytics. The example I'll show you now is what we call cycle detection. We use AI to determine when the operator's work starts and ends. This data is the holy grail of manufacturing. Here's cycle detection running at a factory in Mexico for ZF. ZF is the fifth largest auto supplier in the world. This is one of their airbag lines on that floor in Mexico. Our AI is determining when the cycle begins and when it ends. For every cycle, every unit coming down that line. And we're doing it live with only a few seconds of delay as the data round trips to the cloud and back. By the way, in a moment, I'll show you how working with NVIDIA and Google will reduce that delay to a fraction of what it is today. Now, as you watch this video, bear in mind that cycle time data is hard enough for a human being to create with a stopwatch. I want you to appreciate why this is such a breakthrough for AI. Manufacturing is a highly dynamic environment. In order to detect those cycles, we need to be robust to variations on the plant floor that include different unit sizes, indeterminate locations, irregular trajectories, multiple units in the field of view, occlusion, variations in skin color, sizes, gender, and dominant hands, lighting changes, and background variations. Not only that, we have to infer from the video in a very short period of time, in an environment that's constantly changing, and within the tight margins of manufacturing economics. But our AI is just the start. We've surrounded our AI with a vertically integrated manufacturing solution from the sensing layer all the way to the shop floor application. Here's what we've done that nobody else has done before. We built a practical, cost-effective AI system, a completely vertically integrated video stack, an integrated annotation infrastructure and tooling, human-in-the-loop systems for higher quality, and a fully integrated, flexible, and extensible architecture with easily composable processing pipelines. Most importantly, the entire stack is tuned to solve critical manufacturing problems. Companies like ZF use the data that we create to standardize work, to drive sweeping improvements in quality and productivity, to accelerate operator training, and to help operators create greater value while protecting their jobs. ZF can do this because Drishti finally lets them answer the three questions that have eluded them for so long. So let's just start with the first question that I asked. What just happened? Without Drishti, if something goes wrong, factories have to rely on intense manual root cause analysis and investigations to approximate what happened. With Drishti, it's much simpler. Want to see what happened with unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 built on Tuesday at 3:18 p.m.? Just type the serial number and then forward that video to your training team, or build a time study on top of the video, or share the video with your product designers back in headquarters. With Drishti, the quality and training improvements that used to take days or probably could never be done now take just a few minutes. Now, let's turn to that second question. What's happening now? We don't want to solve just individual problems. We want to improve the entire manufacturing system. And that's where cycle detection comes in. Remember, our AI times every single cycle. So we can show you where the variance is right now. Factories have never had this visibility into manual activities before. We not only give you data, we also give you video and insights, so you can see what is happening and react to it immediately. Finally, we answer the third question. How do we improve what happens next? Today, if you want to improve that line, you've got to first stand there for 8 hours gathering data with a stopwatch. Not so with Drishti. You make a change on the plant floor, our AI measures it. Suddenly, for the first time in the world, an assembly line can do A/B testing just as easily as an e-commerce website can. There's one more factor in all of this, the person working on the line under the camera. For them, Drishti represents an investment that the company is making to keep their jobs, not replace them, as most Industry 4.0 technologies do. It turns out that operators often become our biggest fans. There's a reason. We're using AI and video to augment them, not displace them. Today, we're on the Google Cloud platform, powered by NVIDIA Tesla T4s and P100s for an extremely scalable solution. But an edge solution is clearly in our future. It'll bring us lower bandwidth, lower latency to create data with sub-second delivery, and a lower cost of ownership at scale. And it'll also help us protect our customers' IP, manufacturing process IP, and other sensitive information. So we're working with NVIDIA and Google to build out an edge solution, one that's GPU accelerated and integrates seamlessly with our Google Cloud solution today. So, what happens when a factory can answer the three questions we started with? Well, you can make your lines far more efficient. You can reduce your defect rates by double digits. You can have far deeper visibility into your production processes. Think of it as Zoom for assembly lines. And most importantly, you can help your line associates create greater value. Drishti is an AI technology that helps both the operators and their employers. A true example of the principle of humans and AI, of man and machine working together for mutual benefit.